Hey guys, let's create this Christmas wreath in Procreate. First, I'm going to start off with a new canvas. Mine is 11 by 14 inches, 14 by 11 inches. I've already got this dark layer here. Don't worry about that. We're going to come back to it. We're going to create a blank layer and we're going to draw a circle and resize that to the size that we want to have our wreath. And then we're just going to turn the opacity down of that layer until we can barely see it, and create a new layer above that one. And I'm going to choose this brown color at the top here. I'm going to choose my fine pen extra streamline, and I'm going to go around this circle that we created and draw little stems in, sort of alternating from side to side. And I'll be using my enchanted brush pack for the whole lot of this wreath. You can also use my everyday brush pack. Will probably have pretty much similar brushes in it that you could use for it too. Alright, once we've got all those stems done, we're going to go and create another new layer above that one. And we're going to choose the dark green from the colour palette. And we're going to use my fine pen no streamline. And we're just going to do short little strokes up each side of these stems to create little pine branches. And they don't have to be perfect strokes, just rough, short little strokes. Okay, now we're going to go and create another layer above that one, and we're going to choose the lighter green colour. That's the middle one. And we're going to go over those little strokes that we just did with this lighter green colour. I don't know, this is like really time consuming, but I haven't found an easier way. Like maybe you could make a brush to do this, but this really gives it that organic kind of feel. Okay, once we've done those, we'll create another new layer, and we're going to use the light brownish colour that's down the bottom of the palette here in the corner. And we're going to go around and we're going to draw little stems in each of those gaps. I'm actually going to swap to my fine pen with the streamline and do all these little stems in all the little gaps in between those pine leaves. These are going to be for the holly and the berries. Okay, once we've got all those stems in, we're going to create another layer above that, and we're going to use the dark green colour, and we're going to draw in some holly leaves. Now I'm going to go around with this lighter green over all those holly leaves, and I'm going to draw in the stems on the leaves. Now once all those holly leaves are done, we'll create another new layer and we'll get this red colour, and I'm going to use the Enchanted Dots brush and we're going to draw in some of those berries. So I'm just going to make it a bit bigger, a bit more bigger. I think it's about 20%-ish I have it. I'm just going to go around randomly placing larger berries everywhere, and then we're going to turn it down a little bit and we're going to put in some smaller berries as well, so save space for some smaller ones too. Okay, now I'm going to turn it down to about 12% and I'm going to dot in some of these smaller berries here and there, just randomly. They don't have to be connected to the stems, just sort of randomly dot them around. Now I'm just going to quickly go in and rename some of these layers before I start getting real lost where I'm up to. I'm going to go to this new layer on top of everything, and we're going to choose this really dark red colour, and I'm just going to go in and add some little I don't know what you would call it, little bits to the berries so they look more like berries. I don't know what you even call this, but I'm putting like little X's on one edge of the berries. And this is very time consuming. It does take a little while to go around and do this to all of the berries, but it definitely makes a difference at the end, I reckon. Okay, once that's all done, I'm going to just merge that layer down onto the berries layer and create another new layer and make it a clipping mask. I'm going to use my Enchanted Stardust shader brush, and I'm going to use the same red colour, and I'm going to make the brush quite small, and I'm going to go and put in some texture and shadow onto one edge of all the berries, and I'm going to go around and do this for all of the berries again. Now our wreath is really starting to come together. We need to fill it out a little bit and make it a bit more fluffy and full. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, and just above that circle layer that we drew, I'm going to make a new layer and get the same stem color that we used, and I'm going to draw in some more stems, and then I'm going to get the dark green again, and I'm going to go over and fill out those stems again with the dark green color to add some fullness to the wreath. And you can see now how much fuller that adding in those extra stems makes it. This side is looking more full than the other side. So I'm just going to keep going around and adding in more stems to the rest of it. Okay, and now I'm going to create a new layer above everything else, and I'm going to go in and add some extra stems in on top of everything else. And on these stems I will use the dark green and then the light green on top, whereas the ones that we just did underneath, I only used the dark green. I didn't go over them with the lighter green. And we can see how that is making it look more full. There's also a cheat way that we can achieve a more fuller wreath. So if we go into our layers panel and we go to our original branches that we drew, and we're going to combine those together and then duplicate that, and then we'll use the select tool and we'll rotate them around a little bit and move it off to the side, and then make it a little bit bigger and sort of move it around until it sits in nicely to give it a more full effect for that wreath. And there's definitely a faster way of achieving that fullness. And then we can just go in to any spaces that are looking a little bit empty and just add in a little bit more branches, more stems, more berries if you want to, and just fill it out as much as you want. Now I'm going to go in to the layers panel, and above our holly layer I'm going to create a new clipping mask layer, and I'm going to choose this light green and the Stardust shader brush again, and I'm just going to add a little bit of texture to those holly leaves. And this is totally optional, you don't have to do this. I just like to give it a little bit of like lightness to it, a little bit of texture. So I'm just going to go around to all of the holly leaves and kind of do that. And I'm just going to turn on this background layer. I'm going to grab that dark green and put it in the palette for you guys. If you want to use the same green, I'll just put it down there. And then I'm going to go and create a new layer above everything. I'm going to grab this yellowy green and my fine pen with no streamline. And we're going to go around and add some little highlights on these pine branches. So I'm going to go around the whole thing again. Just on like the branches that are kind of sitting on the top of the wreath the most, where the light's really going to hit them. And I'm just going to go around and do a little bit of these like all over the wreath. Okay, now I'm going to create another new layer above everything, and I'm going to get a yellow color. So I'll just find the yellow color I'm going to use. I'll put this in the palette for you too. And I'm going to use the Enchanted glitter pen, and I'm just going to add some like glittery lights that are like weaving through the wreath a little bit. And I'll pop this same yellow in the palette for you guys. And we're going to go to the adjustments menu and go to bloom, and then drag our pen across the screen to get those lights a real bit of a glow. You can go 100% bloom if you want, or just a little bit, however glowy you want to do it. I'm just going to create a new layer above our background layer. I'm going to do something with the background. I think I'm going to start with this light green and the Enchanted Soft Clouds brush. And I'm going to add a little bit of that light green in there. I think I'll make it a bit darker. I'll add like a very dark green. I'm just sort of going to play around with this background until it looks like something good. I just sort of go between light and dark colours and hope for the best, really. I'll just leave it like that for now. I'm going to create a new layer above that, and I'm going to use yellow. I'm going to use the same yellow, and I'm going to use the Enchanted Sparkle brush, Glow Sparkles, and I'm going to go in and add some little glittery spots around. I'm actually going to do it on top, a new layer on top, and add some of those glittery sparkles in. I usually add sort of a lot, and then I'll go in with the soft brush and the eraser, and I'll erase a little bit of whatever I don't want on there. Now we'll create a new layer and we'll add in some lettering. I'm going to use the yellow and the Enchanted lettering brush, and I'm just going to add in some Merry Christmas lettering, and I'll just skip through this because I'll write it about 1,000,000 times before I actually get it how I want it, so I'll just spare you all that. Now I've just added a new clipping mask layer above the lettering and changed the layer mode to add, and I'm going to use the light yellow and the Enchanted Stardust shader again. I'm just going to add a little bit of that shader over that lettering to give it some highlights so it kind of looks like it's glittery and golden. And I'll create a new layer just above our background layers, and I'm going to get probably just very, very light greeny colour and the Enchanted Glow spots. And I'm going to add some of these glow spots into the background and then go to our adjustments menu and blur them a little bit. And I just realised I started this off as a landscape picture, and I've somehow gone into portrait mode. So I'm just going to flip it back down into landscape and rotate that lettering around. And then that's pretty much it. Your wreath is done, your lettering's done, everything is done, and it looks amazing. And I can't wait to see what you guys do. Thank you so much for watching, and Merry Christmas.